So this is Mark Paradine, and this is Robin Hamlet. And Robin has been working with me for a while. You've probably seen videos of her online.
Yep.
You haven't. You've only had one lesson prior and one lesson today. But what we're going to do is match you two up. APA 3, APA 3, and you're going to do a match. But I want to do a little short blurb first because at the end of our session, we talked about something that you and I haven't done yet, but it is, we walk through, just like you've done before, Robin, we walk through all the steps that Mark needs to go through in order to have a proper stroke and alignment and all that. And what I did is made him a little cheat sheet, and what I've asked him to do is, when it comes time, like today's your APA match, and you want to get ready for it, you got a couple of choices. 99 out of 100 times you come in and shoot with your other people on your team, and you all knock the balls around the table just like you would in league. What I want Mark to do is either come in early or go off to the side if there's an extra table, get on that table, and just shoot the cue ball back and forth up the table like both of you have done these drills before, and ask yourself a series of questions. Is my grip in the right place? Is my grip in a loop knot? That's for him because he's a fisherman, so he knows the difference between a loop knot and a fisherman's knot. If his fingers are in a loop knot, it's nice and loose and he can shoot. If they're in a fisherman's knot, it's too tight and the lure won't swing back and forth as well. Is my thumb pointed at the floor? He puts his thumb on top of the stick like that, which inhibits his ability to use a pendulum stroke. Is my left foot in the proper place? You're very familiar with that, and you've both been through that. And is my left foot slightly forward? So we want his back leg straight, left leg straight forward. Proper bridge, which you don't have many problems with. You have a good bridge. You're going to hit the center of the cue ball and do a pendulum stroke as smooth as possible. And he's a little herky-jerky with his stroke. Yours is pretty smooth. The tip ends straight on the cloth. So if you spend 10 minutes just hitting a ball and asking yourself, did I go through all these things? We marked a place on Mark's cue stick here with a rubber band because his hand was placed back here. Now we want it up here, but it has moved backwards. So we want his back of his hand to be right there. Yeah. So if you just go through these things, it's like you and I talked about the gymnasts. They're spending a year doing a 1-minute routine, and they're getting every little piece of it down. If you spend just 10 or 15 minutes before your match remembering what all the little nuances are that go into a good stroke, within weeks, months, a year, you will be advancing. But if you're just going in and shooting with your buddies, you're never going to learn anything.
Yes.
You don't train your body. So this is a cheat sheet. I'll make a cheat sheet for you the next time we work on your stroke. Okay, so what we're going to do now is you two are going to play an APA match. It's a race to 2, 3 against 3, mano a mano. And I'm actually going to do something I usually don't do with these, and that's we might talk about some things during the match.
Okay.
And the reason is that for him, you're coming back and getting session after session. For him, he's at the end of his free lesson period, and so from now on, if he wants to come back, he's going to have to pay for it. So I want him to leave with as much information as I can convey to him in case he doesn't come back, but I'm hoping he will. So, are you ready to rumble?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to lag for break. It's a race to 2, and it's going to be a little different than APA normal matches in that you're both able to get 2 timeouts.
Oh, good. Okay.
So ask for a timeout if you feel you need it. And I will probably make some comments at the end of each game about things that might have been done differently. And that's really for both of you because there's 2 things that you have to achieve in order to move up the ranks in pool. The first one we talk about more often is fundamentals, but the second one is tactics. You can move from an APA 3 to a 4 just working on tactics with the worst stroke in the world because most of the time you're choosing the wrong, or much of the time, I won't say most of the time, but much of the time you're choosing the wrong shot. So something you and I will be doing in the future is playing Robin 1 against Robin 2. Robin 1 figures out what shot to make on her own. Robin 2 I figure out what shot she's going to make. So she has exactly the same skill level, but Robin 2 is probably going to win more often because she's choosing different shots than Robin 1 would. This is a very powerful way to learn, by the way. Find yourself an advanced player, play against yourself, and have that more advanced player not even suggest, tell you this is a shot you're going to take right now, and you're going to hate it. You're going to go, yeah, but I can make that ball over there. Well, that's okay, but he got to be a 6 or a 7 or whatever he is by not taking that shot over there. Okay, ready, Rumble? Let's go. As Mark and Robin get ready for their match, I want to mention something that the greatest pool player in the world, Efren Bata Reyes, said. I learned the basics of the game from the good players, but I learned all the complicated shots from watching the bad players. And I'm not going to call amateur players bad players, but if you are watching only videos of professional players coming, you're not going to learn very much about how to improve as an amateur pool player in a league like APA. And the reason is those professionals are never making any of the most common mistakes that we see in low handicap amateur pool games. Under most pool rules, there are only 2 things you do. Put the 8 ball in the center and 1 of each suit on the corners. In fact, under BCA rules, you're required to not do anything else. Everything else should be random. So when you're switching balls all around and watching somebody, it's one of the reasons APA matches take so long, because they're arranging the balls so that there's a stripe and then a solid all the way around the rim, and it makes no difference whatsoever because the pattern that these balls take when they break up doesn't have anything to do with every other. It has to do with their position in the rack. And one other bit of advice for APA 3 on breaking is this. If you're playing a 7 or even a 6, you're better off to have balls clumped up after the break. You have a lot more chance of getting through. If you break the balls up perfectly, you're just allowing them to run out on you. Mm-hmm. So
maybe not give your best break, but try to keep.
Well, you try to do a good break. But you don't want to scatter balls all over the table. I have a friend, Ron Bates, who's a quadriplegic. He can't move his fingers, but he strokes the ball, he breaks it up, and one of his big advantages is that he doesn't open up the rack for the higher level player. And he usually gets a chance back at the table several times.
On APA, because I'm new to APA, but on break, 4 balls besides the
yes.
Ball have to hit a rail.
Yeah.
And if they don't, it should be an automatic rack. You get to re-break one.
You get to re-break in APA. In BCA or World Pool rules, you don't get to break. You lose it to the other player.
Okay. The only reason I asked that was brought up.
But in APA, no matter what happens, if you don't get a legal break, you get to break again. So now Mark has won the leg and won the break, and here he goes. He breaks up the balls pretty good. I don't see anything falling though, so I believe Robin will have choice here as Mark walks away from the table. Now Robin has her eye on the 6 ball. She's looking at her contact point, coming down on the shot. I'd like to see her step back and get a little bit better line on the cue ball path. She has pretty good form. That upper arm stays in position and the lower arm does the stroking. That was very nice. It looks like she's decided on the 1 ball next. Again, she's looking at her contact point. This time she got back and looked at her shot line for the cue ball, and I much prefer to see her doing that. And again, very good motion of the arm. She came very close to making it. He's likely to have some difficulties here getting on another ball. It looks like he's got an angle where he's above the ball that he's shooting at. He might be able to come out and hit that other stripe that's near the pocket, but it's not going to be easy for him. Let's see what he does. He's being very careful about his foot placement, which is one of the things we worked on. We also worked on careful hand placement and grip just earlier in the day. Now, he was probably trying to bump that other stripe and didn't quite accomplish it, but he made a good effort at it. He finds himself in a very tough position now. It looks like he only has one ball to shoot at, and that's that stripe up in the upper right-hand corner, which is occluded from the pocket by the 5 ball, it looks like. So he's getting out the bridge. And let's see how his technique is with the bridge. It looks like he's holding it pretty well, but look at how his hand is at a 45-degree angle right now. That's going to be difficult to maintain a straight stroke. We would like to see his arm raised up so that as it moves, it's parallel with the ground. That gives him a right angle that he's aiming along rather than a chicken wing kind of 45-degree angle. Now, Robin has looked the table over pretty thoroughly, and she's choosing to shoot at the 5 ball, which is in the corner. This is a pretty thin cut, which means the cue ball is going to be running pretty fast when she comes off of it. Oh, well, she chose to shoot a bank shot, and she made it. That was a very nice shot. Well done. And now she has a decision to make. It looks like she can shoot the 1 ball down here in the lower right, or she can shoot the 7 ball up in the upper left corner. Let's see what she does. She's going after the 1 ball. It's a little bit difficult. She's bridging over another ball. This is always a difficult situation, but she looks like she's got a good bridge there. Let's watch her stroke. Her arm did drop a little bit this time, and this is what happens when you're under stress. She has pretty good form of that upper arm usually, but when you're under stress, you're liable to drop it a little bit. And when you do that, it raises the tip of the stick up and makes it difficult to hit the exact spot on the cue ball that you've been looking to hit. Now she's ended up in the middle of the table near the left side pocket, and she has a shot at the 2 ball. It's a rather difficult cut shot. The cue ball is going to be flying over towards those other balls, which is a good thing. If she makes it, she may hit that 13 and open up the 4 ball. She's being very careful. Let's watch her hip clearance and her upper arm. Those are both things that we've worked on with Robin. And she does a very nice shot. She moves the 13 ball out of the way, and she has a tough cut shot on the 7. The only problem is she also hit the 4 ball in addition to the 13, which means that she cannot get at that ball now. It's locked behind the stripe. She has 2 balls that are out of commission here. And if I could whisper in her ear right now, I would ask her to not make the 7 ball that she's going to try to make here, because she's going to end up in a now what situation. She's got very difficult job leaning against the table. She has no chance of breaking either one of those balls out. So if she makes it, she will be in what I call a now what moment. Okay, so let's just pause for a second. This is what I call a now what moment. Because the last thing in the world you wanted to happen is for that ball to go in the pocket.
Okay.
Because you can't do anything about these balls.
Right.
You would like him to break open those balls eventually, but if you had just bumped that ball here, you could leave the cue ball down here, and you would have this ball to play with. Now you don't have a ball to play with. You have to try to move one of your balls, but you can't make it. Therefore, you're going to open up one of his balls in doing it and expose him to a shot. So that's one of those moments we're looking for. The now what moments make all the difference in the world of what level you're at. You can have the nicest stroke, you made a beautiful cut shot there, but you didn't want to make it. You shouldn't have made it.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Okay.
So, okay.
So as we go forward, you can think about that on the next time you end up in this situation. Robin has selected her shot now, which is to bump the 3 ball, it looks like, and do a safety. She did a very nice job Nicely of it. She done. moved. So that's mostly what I'll be talking about when I interrupt. It will be the now what moments, just so you catch them. The goal should be to see now what moments before they happen and then not allow them to happen. Nice shot by Mark there. Now he has the possibility of shooting the 14 ball in the side, but he has decided, it looks like, to come over and shoot at this other stripe. I think it's the 13, and do a safety shot, I think. Maybe he's trying to bank it. Now he's looking down at his hand position, which is something we worked on. We want to look at his arm, and he did poke at that a little bit, and his hand swiped outwards as he stroked. He got that ball broken out, but he also moved the 5 ball into position where it can be made by Robin, and he moved the 4 ball to a point where it's open. But actually what he tried to do was a pretty advanced shot, and you got to give him credit for trying. He was trying to bank that 13 and break out those balls at the same time. So he was making a great effort. It may be a little bit beyond his current skill level. Mark was a more skilled player years ago, but has gotten a little bit rusty, and he's trying to get back there. So he knows some of these shots. And he tried a difficult shot and didn't quite make it, but if he'd have banked that ball in, he'd have been in a pretty good position. Now Robin has put this 4 ball up into the corner. She's blocked the pocket for 2 of Mark's balls. The 14 ball can't go in that pocket, and certainly the 13 ball really only has that pocket and it can't go in. So Robin's in a strong position here now. Mark has his work cut out for him. One thing we want to look at when the table's laid out like this is Robin is not going to want to move that 4 ball until she's sure that she's clear to be able to make both balls and make the 8 ball and get out. Again, another big mistake people make is saying, well, that's an easy shot. I can shoot that ball, and then I'm going to go, now what? Now, Mark made a long shot there, and he missed, but that was a pretty nice effort, and he would have had a decent shot at the 12 ball. Now, we're taking a timeout. Robin and I are taking a timeout. And I'm trying to make sure that she does not shoot that 4 ball in. That's her protection. That's what gets her into some more innings in this game, is having that 13 ball blocked in the corner. So we're going over this. We are going to shoot at the 3 ball, and we're discussing what best she can do. And I'm suggesting to her that she cross the 3 ball, come over the top of it, because if she hits it full or to the left, she's going to go right in that pocket. But if she crosses it and hits it too hard, a ball, including the cue ball, might make its way over to knock that 4 ball in, which would be bad for her game. So she just wants to bump this ball out where she can get at it. She's pretty sure of getting to another inning unless he does something spectacular. Robin executed that shot very well. She got her ball out in the open. She left his ball still up against the rail. She left his other ball blocked by the 4 ball. He does have a couple of shots, a stripe in the side or a stripe in the corner, but he's going to have very great difficulty getting completely out. So she now has taken the driver's seat in this game. She has 2 balls near her pocket that are fairly easy to make, but there are some difficulties that I think she's going to face in her decision making if she gets another shot. A nice try there to pocket the 12 ball in the side with a pretty good stroke by Mark. Now Robin comes to the table, and she is in a difficult position. She can roll that solid up into the corner, and perhaps get position on the 4.
I'm looking.
If you make the 3 ball, which you can do, you're skilled enough to do it, right? Where's the cue ball going to end up?
So that's what I was going to evaluate right now, whether to take the 3 or 4 first,
Mm-hmm.
because they're definitely in a good path.
Yeah, I'm thinking you take the 4 first.
Okay, that's what I was.
And the reason is, if you can get your cue ball out here somewhere, you shoot the 3 in, you may be able to get at the 8 too. Yeah. But if you miss this ball, or let's make this ball, and now your cue ball gets over here. It might get stuck behind the 12, but even if you end up here, it's real hard for you to get position back on the 8 ball again. It's easier to get position over here. So I would probably, well, now that I look at it from here, it looks a little bit difficult, but you might want to hit it right about there.
Right here.
Yeah, but you have to make sure. It's real easy to get an optical illusion on this shot and miss it out here. So you want the center of the cue ball to come right about there on that point. And if you do that, it'll come over and bump the 11 or the 13, and you're hoping it'll roll here and back out for the 3. If it doesn't, if it ends up over here, then you have to cut the 3 putt.
Okay.
But
So
that's
definitely
better
that
than
way, though.
shooting this 3 first causes you some difficulty getting on the 8, I think.
And
Now, we kept that ball there in the last time out because your 3 ball was tied up. Now your 3 ball's not tied up anymore.
And there's no way, like with this distance, I can't really get a good, like if I wanted to, and I can't really hit it low.
You would have to put a powerful draw shot on it.
And I don't think this is a good position to do that anyway.
You would have to put a powerful draw shot on it, which you can't do because you have to be shooting down too much on it. You could hit it here and knock it in the pocket and come back out, but you're at risk if you hit it too straight of scratching.
Yeah.
So, by the way, just for the video, I'm giving her a longer timeout than normal, but we said from the beginning that we were going to do some teaching while this was going on. So, now your alternative is to try and make that 3 ball in that pocket, but right now, while it's right there, it's blocking the 11 ball from all kinds of positions for him.
Yeah,
So I like leaving the 3 ball there, and then if you mess this up, you're still blocking his 11 ball. He'd have to get straight on it like that. If he gets over there somewhere, he can't make it. So your 3 ball is in a powerful position right now. So again, if you wanted to hit this side of it, gently, you could roll out here and get on the 3 ball. Or if you want to roll across here, you're going to hit the 13 and you might get out on the 3 ball. So the choices Robin had here are pretty clear. She has a difficult shot on the 3 followed by a possible position and then a difficult position on the 8, or she has a easy shot on the 4 with a possible position but with her 3 ball left where it's easily makeable and blocking another ball. So I think the latter is the best choice to make. So she made the 4 ball. The angle was such that she came pretty full into the 13, so she kind of got stuck back there. But she still has her 3 ball in a position that partially blocks the 11 ball, and she's in pretty good position to win this thing, but she needs to hit that 3 ball sometime, and that's going to be difficult. And she's on her own now because she's used both of her timeouts, and even though we are doing the teaching in the process of this, we want it to also be a relatively fair match. So long timeouts are okay, but not 3 timeouts. And retrospective analysis after the shot is okay, but not prospective analysis. Robin took a long time to analyze this, and finally she's decided on this kick shot. And she missed it by a considerable distance. And this often happens because when the cue ball's close to the rail like that, it's hard to see a proper angle. And on top of that, it's also possible to have the cue ball sliding when it hits the rail, which means it's not going to be taking the same angle it will if it was rolling. In that case, I think it was rolling because it took quite a long angle. But it is still a difficult thing to judge. She did miss that shot. She did give ball in hand to her opponent, and Mark is looking around the table now to figure out what he's going to do. He is going to use his ball in hand on the 11 ball, which is a trouble ball for him. I think it's a wise decision. If he can take that ball into the corner pocket, he'll have position on one of two other balls. And finally, there is a ball at the end of the table on the upper left there that is very makeable for him. So I think this is a wise decision to take out this trouble ball right now. He has made that ball. He has position on either the 13 or the 12. He also has position on the 14, but from there he would not be able to get position on one of these other balls. So he's got to take one of these balls. And therefore he struck the ball with a decelerating stroke, which caused him to foul on the shot. He never made it to a rail, either with the object ball or with the cue ball. So Robin gets ball in hand, and this brings up that earlier decision to leave that 3 ball in its position because it would be easy to get from that 3 ball to the 8 ball. So she's set up right now to do that. I don't like the position she put the cue ball in. From here, she's got quite a sharp angle, and she's trying to get on the 8, but I think she's going to end up with that cue ball rolling further than she hopes for. She'd put it just a little bit straighter, then she would be able to pocket the 8 in the side next, but I think it's at a little too much of an angle. Okay, just as I was saying, that ball's rolling out. She does have a shot at the corner pocket, and it is a very makeable shot, so she very well could win this game. But I think she should have positioned that ball in hand with a little bit smaller of an angle so that she could come back and have a shorter shot into the side. But this is actually a good thing because most APA 3s would have put it straight in and then had a severe cut on the 8 in the side. So she's at least thinking about creating an angle so that she can get position on her next ball, which is something that is easily going to propel her into her next level, which will be a 4. She's lining up this 8 ball. Let's see how she does. She does a great job of pocketing that ball, and that is the end of that first game. So the score is 1-0, Robin over Mark. May I?
Yep.
So let's get some balls out. The one where you had the choice between the 3 and the 2, I'm not going to go back over. We were pretty careful about that. But we had a situation that was something like this, where Robin had a difficult cut shot. I don't remember where other balls were. There were a couple of other balls on the table. That doesn't matter. And Robin made the 2 ball here with a beautiful cut shot. But this is a situation that's going to come up again and again and again and again in almost every game you play, or at least every match. This business is going to come up where you can't possibly make the next ball you're going to shoot. So you're going to have to break it open, and it's tied up with your opponent's ball. So when you break your ball open, you're breaking their ball open, but you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for them. Okay, you're breaking that ball open for them. So the best thing to do with this, even though that was a really nice shot you made, that was a difficult cut shot over here. I think it was even more extreme than that. It was something like that. You made that cut shot, you would have been far better off to do this.
Force him to make, to
Yeah.
break those up.
Put this near the pocket. You've got it there. Later on, maybe it would have ended up right there. Later on, if you end up here, you can break out one of those balls while shooting that in. But you're now got another ball right here you can shoot at, and he's going to try and get out from here, but if you leave the cue ball down here, he's going to have a difficult shot. And then you can just keep bumping this ball again and again and again until he's forced to break your balls open. Okay? This comes up all the time. This is a now what moment for you to be sitting here like this and asking, can I make a shot? Because you can't. You can't make a shot from there. Maybe a spectacular. Ryan might be able to make a shot from there, but I can't, and you guys can't. So that's a now what moment. The other one came here, and this often happens with differently with now what moments. You had the 3-ball here, Robin, and the 8-ball there, right? It was about like that. And you did the right thing, which is not to put it straight in, because you knew that if you put it straight in, you're going to have a sharp angle on that. But what you did is made a cut shot that was so severe you had to come all the way over here, where if you put it much straighter, you didn't want it straight, but if you were much straighter like that, all you have to do is softly hit it and you're straight in the side.
I wondered what I did wrong.
Yeah, that was creating too much of a cut. But your head was in the right spot, because you had people tell you before, don't put it straight in and then go now what. But you put it at about twice the angle you needed, because I sat there, I knew the cue ball was going to go way over here. And you wanted it to go here, right?
Yes.
So you have to put it much fuller. Those are the two main things that popped out of that rack. So it's your rack, here's your stick.
Because I was so afraid if I didn't get enough angle, then I was really in trouble because of his balls being down there.
Because you're beyond that point where you are putting it straight in for the shots.